Good evening and welcome to this evening's meeting of the Fairmont Area School Board, Tuesday, October 11th, 2016. For roll call, all members are present with the exception of Danielle Schutz. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. You have your minutes before you of our previous meeting held on September 27th.
Make a motion to approve those minutes as offered.
Thank you, Dan. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Julie. We have a motion and a second to approve the September 27, 2016 school board meeting minutes as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. We have the amended agenda before you with the green copy. Are there any changes to that agenda?
We have the addition of the
Oh, yes.
donation.
We have Egg Star here to make a presentation. We'll move them to A under financial business, and financial reports and bills will be moved to B. Any other changes?
We have the two leave requests.
Yeah, as noted on the green agenda, there are 2 leave requests. Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented with those corrections.
thank you, Julie. And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dell. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to celebrations and school and community reports. We have the ECFE Parent Advisory Group here, and I believe Megan Sokolsky will be speaking to us. She is the president.
Hello, and thank you for having me here. Just a basic overview about our Fairmont Area ECFE program. This year, we have 31 families enrolled. We're always accepting new families, so hopefully that will bump up as the year goes on. 10 of those families have 2 or more children in ECFE, and ECFE is for birth to 5 years of age. And then 12 of those families do have children in both ECFE and Discovery Place preschool. So it seems if you're involved in ECFE, you'll move on to preschool and keep going with your parent and child classes with your preschooler. Myself, I have 3 boys, all 3 in ECFE, and Higgins, my oldest, is also in DP for preschool. Higgins will be 4 next month, Gavin is 2.5, and Gunnar is 4 months. So we started all right around 2 months is when Higgins started. He was 2 months old. And Gavin and Gunnar both went to ECFE infant classes right around 2 weeks or so, just to get me out of the house as a stay-at-home mom. It was kind of nice to interact with other moms that have kids the same age. And actually some of my best friends are people that I've met through ECFE. It's just very nice to keep up with other parents and know different research and things like that going on, and that is something that we greatly discuss in our infant classes. But like I said, yep, we have parent and child classes, infant classes, and we do have childcare available during those classes. That's a really big draw for moms with more kids. And new this year, they offer monthly mini sessions. Those are in the evening, and that is for 3 to 5-year-olds. That really focuses on kindergarten readiness. And it's also just a really nice time for the parents to spend that one-on-one time with their toddler. That's so important for that age. I mean, and you can definitely tell in the behavior of the child if they get that one-on-one time with a mom, even just for 10 minutes a day. But this is an entire hour and a half, and it provides a meal. And then we also do special Saturday events. This past Saturday, they just did a fall harvest fun. There was a hay ride, pumpkin painting, things like that. And then in December is a breakfast with Santa. And then they also do Saturdays with, special Saturdays with grandparents and moms and muffins, dads and donuts. So it's just, again, another nice way to spend time with your child. And yeah, it's just for parents to meet other parents. We have a lot of parents that come in and say, you know, I don't know anybody my age, I don't know anybody else with kids, and just to see that connection happen and for our kids to get to know each other. I feel like my 2 boys for sure, they go to the elementary school, they know exactly where they're going. When Higgins had preschool screening, it was no problem for him. He knew the instructors, and sometimes I think he does get a little confused with preschool and ECFE, that sometimes I'm there, sometimes I'm not, but there was absolutely no problem transitioning to preschool, and I do really think that that is because of our involvement in ECFE. A little bit about the Parent Advisory Board. I've been the president for about 2 years now. We have about 20 members that come to meetings regularly, we hope. And then we also do pull in any parent volunteers that we need for our events. Anybody is always open to come to our meetings or volunteer at any of the events that we hold, fundraisers, etc. Again, we do provide childcare at those meetings also, and a lot of the times food. That brings a lot of parents in if they can bring their kids and have a snack and things like that. The board was actually formed to develop community awareness and support for parents and their children, and then also to provide direction for ECFE and to provide feedback for the programs. And like I said, we're the main source of volunteers for the program. So if they do need more volunteers for any of the special Saturdays or anything like that, we're first to be called in. We're also a big funding source for the special needs of the program. At our last meeting, we actually approved to give $500 to our preschool teachers, our early education teachers, to spend as they saw fit for their classrooms. And I just got told today that they use it on a brand new sensory table, a wooden train track set, and a 4-sided easel. So 3 things that preschoolers need for their development and for their play-through learning, and things that, you know, just get worn out. So it was great to be able to provide that for them and either offer more items or to replace broken ones, worn out ones, things like that. And actually, even in 2014, our last big purchase was a horizontal rock wall that's in the activity gym in the elementary school, and that we had grants throughout the entire community. It was great to see the support of the community and to do recognition for that. And we had a lot of questions. That gets used every single day, both by special needs and by mainstream preschoolers. It's just the hand dexterity, the eye-hand coordination, and just the, I've heard one of the preschool teachers say the self-esteem that it builds, that you can definitely tell at the beginning of the year, some of them are a little nervous to climb up, you know, the 2 feet, and as the year goes on, they see their classmates do it, and they're cheering each other on, and it's just a great addition to the large motor skills. Some of the events that the Parent Advisory Board does throughout the school year and also throughout the summer, we partake in the Interlochen Heritage Day Parade and the Homecoming Parade. We hand out candy, pamphlets, brochures. On the brochures and the pamphlets, it just gives a brief overview of what ECFE is. And then on our business cards, we have the contact information for the elementary school, Marlis Rogers, our parent educator. And we've also put my information on there. And when we do pass it out, if we get a chance to talk to the parent that we're passing it out to, we do say that there is a parent listed. So if for some reason you don't want to talk to an educator or call the school, you can definitely get in contact through a parent. We've had a number of people do that. They just felt a little more reassuring to talk to a parent and to maybe ask what they considered a stupid question about ECFE or preschool. So we found that to be a really good draw, to have a parent-parent contact and then to pass it on to a parent educator. Big fundraisers that we do throughout the year, you'll see us at McDonald's and Pizza Ranch. We sell the Quick Trip car wash cards. We're always looking for new ones. Our fundraiser committee is always busy trying to find different things and just to figure out where our funds would be best used. We do collaborate with the FFA chapter. We've started to do that a little bit more. At the end of the school year last year, we did a spring planting event at the end of our end of year celebration, and that was really neat for the FFA kids to get in and explain to the little kids, you know, this is your plant, this is your seedling, you know, you need to water it, watch the soil levels, make sure it has sun and things like that. So that was great for the big kids and the little kids to mix, and hopefully we get to do more with them. I myself talk to the prenatal classes and just give a brief overview of our infant and child class, or infant classes, and just to let them know that there are other moms going through the exact same thing that you are, so please come and join us. You know, even just 1 or 2 times during your maternity leave is great, just so you know you're not alone. We've talked a little bit about the Early Childhood Dental Initiative, and we have a lot of members on our board who are very interested in that, so hopefully we'll play a key role in that. Every third Tuesday of the month, we hold an open gym, and that coincides with the week of ECFE that we do not have classes. This is held from 4 to 7 in the activity gym in the elementary school. It's $2 a family, and it's especially great during the winter months when your kids need to burn off that extra energy, especially if you just have ECFE kids and they don't have recess or school or things like that. And we've seen an uptick in the numbers for that for sure. So that's really getting out there for the parents to talk, the kids to run off energy. So we do offer that every month now. One of our big events that we do plan is the spring bus trip, and that is in the spring. Parent Advisory Board does pay for over half of the cost for this trip, and it's a 1 parent, 1 child team. We take a coach bus. In the last 3 years, we visited the Sioux Falls Zoo. Last year, we did Sea Life and Mall of America. In the 2 years, they did Children's Museum and Sea Life. And that, again, is just that parent-child time. We do, like I said, 1 parent, 1 child, and we keep the cost very reasonable for being able to drive 2-3 hours and then go on these group adventures. Like at Sea Life, we got to do a behind the scenes, and that was, very cheap for our group to do, and it was just another thing that if you went up as a family, you probably would not do, but as a group mini field trip, it was something that we definitely enjoyed. And then our last big thing normally is the Family Fun Fair. That takes up a lot of our energy and volunteers, and we do donations all throughout town. And so we hold the raffle that people buy raffle tickets for at the Family Fun Fair, and we do everything from, or we get donations for everything from the family pass at the aquatic park, and that's always our big one. People will pay a lot of money in raffle tickets for a chance to win that one. Books, toys, gift certificates to everything in town, basically. So we really appreciate our community support for that, and that is, again, a great fundraiser for us that we can use in return to give back to ECFE and preschool programs. I think that's about it. Any questions?
You sound busy.
Yeah, once I wrote it out, I'm like, wow, we do a lot. I feel like I'm missing something in my agenda every once in a while, but
If people are interested in joining ECFE or just being involved in the board or volunteering or donating, who do they contact?
the main person that I say is to call is the Sarah Pfeffer in the Fairmont Elementary office, or they can just stop in and talk to anybody in the office, basically. Michelle Rosen, myself. We have pamphlets and things like that around, but yeah, basically during school hours, just go ahead and stop in.
This program is a wonderful support to families, and it is terrific to see how you work together with families to prepare children for school. The family is a key component in children's readiness for school, and we very much appreciate all the work that your board does and that ECFE does to help with that link.
Great, thank you very much. Yeah, we definitely see, especially for the working parents, we do offer an evening class also at 6 o'clock on Tuesdays, and that, for the majority, always has a wait list. It's from birth to 5, and to have the entire family come after a busy day of work, we have families that really do enjoy that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Megan.
All right, moving on to our superintendent's report and calendar.
Thank you. First of all, let's look at the pink sheet, the calendar. Just a reminder of some upcoming events. First of all, tomorrow afternoon at 4:30, we will have a policy committee meeting that will be held in the business office. That is at 4:30. And looking ahead, Tuesday, October 18th, the high school will have a staff meeting, and all board members are invited to attend if they can. That will be at 7:30 in the morning. at the high school Tuesday, October 18th in the High School Media Center. So it's a good time to meet with the faculty and discuss issues. The new teacher banquet will be held at the Holiday Inn on Tuesday, October 13th, and that will be a big event with 13 new faculty. Plus, we have a couple of faculty that are celebrating anniversaries. I see somebody in the audience today, Mrs. Brolsma, I think, is celebrating an anniversary on the new teacher banquet. She's not a new teacher, but she's celebrating an anniversary. Mrs. Brolsma, yes. And then finally, Wednesday, October 26th, right here in City Hall, there's going to be a school board candidate forum that will start at 6 o'clock at night. Just a reminder that we have 5 candidates for school board running for 3 seats. The second thing I want to talk about is the enrollment report. I think all of you have a copy of that. We did pick up an additional 4 students at the elementary school since our last school board meeting, so we now have 897 students in our elementary, 795 at the high school, for a total of 1,692. Just a reminder, too, that that's a little bit lower than last year, mainly because of our senior class only having 106 students. But next year, that enrollment will pick back up again and will be well over 1,700 students. Just a reminder, too, that we have a very important Cyber Smart seminar coming up that will be held on Monday, October 17th. And we're going to have a couple of sessions for students. On Monday, October 17th, grades 9 through 12th will be from 8:30 to 3:30, and grades 5 through 8 will be from 9:40 to 10:40. There's going to be a business session later on that day, but more importantly, there's going to be a parent session, and that will be held at night from 6 o'clock to 7:30. I'm just going to read a little bit from this brochure, and then I'll distribute copies. But this is a very important seminar talking about using social media safely. And we have a national keynote speaker by the name of Jerry Ackerman, who's been contracted to come and spend the entire day with us. But I'll read a little bit about the parent session, a stunning and practical workshop to help parents understand what is taking place in student life. Parents will learn key information, including the 3 reasons that student issues are worse today than ever, how to get to the heart of your child, 6 ways to respond to the question, why? A current look at the state of technology in a student's life, rules you should have for technology with your child, apps that you need to know about, how parents can be armed to help the onslaught of technology, 3 things parents need to do to set the example, and 3 things parents should be modeling for their children. A very, very powerful 90-minute presentation. And I hope that the Performing Arts Center at the high school is full, because last year we had an incident, if you can recall, we had a social media scare at our district, and it caused a lot of commotion. And students are bombarded with technology today and with social media. And I just think this is going to be a very important meeting for those of us to attend from a board level standpoint, but also anybody in the community. So you don't just have to have a student in school. Anybody can come, and they probably should, because social media is different today than it was 10 years ago. That's all I can say. I just want to remind the community, too, to watch your mailbox, because within the next week, there's going to be a mailing. We'll be sending out a mailer to all property owners in the Fairmont Area School District. It's a 4-page handout talking about our learning levy, and there's also a sample ballot in there. And I just want to point out once again that there's a really neat chart here on page 3 to show that Fairmont Area Schools is the lowest taxed school district in Martin County as it relates to the operating levy. And what we're asking voters to do this year is to consider to vote to support a renewal of our current property tax levy. This is not a tax increase at all. And the beauty of this is that it will lock in this operating levy for 10 years. And so not only last meeting that we had 0% property tax increase for the operation of our district, but this will be locking in the operating levy for 10 years. So it's no tax increase, And once again, we're the largest school district in Fairmont and in the Martin County area, but we have the lowest tax rate of the operating levies. And it also on page 2, it's very important to list all the academic programs, all the athletic programs, and all the college and the schools classes that we offer, because Fairmont Area Schools is a very comprehensive school district. And the operating levy is that additional money that we get both from the state and from the local property taxes to pay for these extra programs. Otherwise, the state aid pays for all the core classes, but having the operating levy, like all schools have in Minnesota now, every school has an operating levy. Those operating levies are for the extras, like the fine arts, like co-curricular activities, sports, and of course the college and the schools classes. So look for those mailings, and that will be nice to do. And Mrs. Green, I have something for you.
Oh,
You didn't know that.
no, I did
So
not.
I'm gonna have you stand, and I think Judy's gonna take a picture. And because what this is, we encourage all of our school board members to go to different training sessions throughout the year, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. And this is a certificate of completion. It's like a diploma. And this shows that Nicole Green has completed phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 of school board training. Many of our board members have already done that, so I want to congratulate you on behalf of the Minnesota School Board Association.
Thank you.
You're certainly welcome. Now, we expect to see that on your refrigerator.
I'll laminate it. I want to thank the Minnesota School Board Association for offering the wonderful workshops that they do. When you run for school board, there's no degree required, there's no experience required. We are here serving the community at your request, and these workshops are wonderful. They inform us of laws, of policies, of how to work together as a team, how to work with the community, and I appreciate the Minnesota School Board Association for offering these, and also for the district. The first phase training is free, part of being in the Minnesota School Board Association, and after that, I appreciate the district supporting the school board members and that they support them to send them to these workshops. So thank you very much. Thank you, Superintendent Brown, for your report and calendar. We'll move on to financial business. And we have a very special presentation tonight from Egg Star. Amber will be here to help present this along with Grant Pomeranke and Connie Miller. Thank you. You're up.
I don't know if we really have too much information as far as the grant, but I know Amber could probably speak more to actually what the funds were used for. But Egg Star offers a lot of the rural communities that we serve grant opportunities, and Amber took advantage of this one and was rewarded this one for the Egg Department. So Amber, you can speak to what the funds were used for.
The funds that we got from Egg Star are used in our greenhouse. We use them to buy some equipment and supplies in order to prepare us for planting and doing experiments and things like that. The big thing that we used the money to purchase was a germination chamber. We attempted to germinate seeds in the greenhouse last spring, and it did not go well. So the germination chamber is going to be a really huge help for us because it's really difficult to keep the seeds at the correct temperature and humidity in order for them to germinate in the greenhouse. And so once we germinate them in our germination chamber, then we can run them out to the greenhouse and be more successful in growing large amounts of plants from seed, which is notoriously difficult. So we're really excited to be able to use that. So
Thank you. And a big thank you to Egg Star for supporting our egg program so frequently. We are very blessed in this community to have businesses such as you to help support our schools.
We're going to have you three move away from the podium there. Move towards Judy. Don't be shy.
Thank you.
Indeed, thank you.
Now, we need to make it official. Dan?
So I would introduce the following resolution and move for its adoption. Whereas AgStar Financial Services has donated $3,000 to the Fairmont Area School District to be used for classroom equipment for the Ag classroom. Be it resolved by the Fairmont Area School Board to gratefully accept this gift.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. We need to take a, is there any discussion? Okay, we need to take a roll call vote. Dell?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Dan?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Rufus?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. And thank you again to AgStar for their generous donation. Now, moving on to financial reports and bills. Sue?
Tonight on the agenda, we have the approval of the September 2016 Treasurers Report, wire transfers from September 23rd through October 6th, and the payment of the October 11th bills. So you should have before you the September 2016 Treasurers Report. So I have listed there all of the different funds and accounts within each fund. You'll notice in Fund 7, I did break out the debt service bond proceeds that are held in escrow, so that's easier to see. And then on the flip side, you have, the top part is an expenditure report as of the end of September. So then on the far left, you have the different funds, and then the next column is the budget, and that is the preliminary budget that the board approved back in June. We'll have a new budget for you in November. Then you have your monthly expenditures for the month of September, and then your year-to-date. Okay, and so you'll start seeing this once a month. And then on the bottom part, you have our wires and transfers from September 23rd through October 6th. Just about everything in the wires and transfers is all related to payroll, with the exception of the P-card payment. And we'll look at those details here in a bit. And then on the bottom, you can see that our total payroll disbursements for September were $970,000. Any questions? And you can look at your P-card register that you received tonight. Looking at this, you can see we have different things like online orders, conference registrations, and then some monthly things like our cell phone bill with Verizon, and then our garbage bill with Waste Management. And then the last register you have is dated October 11th, and I'll bring a few payments to your attention. Check number 58987 made out to BSN Sports. This is for football uniforms, and this was the school contribution, and then in addition, the Football Association paid a portion. Then a couple down from there, the payment to Carpenters and Joiners Training Center. That is for curriculum for the construction trades class. And then check number 59041 made out to Seating and Athletic Facility Enterprises. And this is for the 6 portable bleachers for the baseball complex that we're using the U.S. Bank Places to Play grant. And then the other dollars will be used or have been used for the concrete that will be underneath those bleachers. And then the new big baseball bleachers should be started to install yet tomorrow, it sounds like. Then down a few, check number 59046, weatherproofing technologies. This is for the roofing project at the junior senior high school that was done this summer, and that is paid in full with this payment. Do you have any questions on that register? Julie and I did meet prior to the board meeting to review all of the reports.
If there are no questions, I would then make a motion to approve the September 2016 Treasurers Report, wire transfers for 9/23/16 to 10/6/16, and payment of the October 11th, 2016 bills.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dell. Any discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. No further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you, Sue. Old business, policies. Rufus?
At our last school board meeting, we reviewed 7 policies with revisions. As we discussed last time, they could only be approved at the second meeting, and so they were being brought again for final approval. So if the board is in agreement with these revisions, I'd recommend approving them. And they are Policy 208, Development, Adoption, and Implementation of Policies, 408 subpoena of a school district employee, 418 drug-free workplace, drug-free school, 420 students and employees with sexually transmitted infections and diseases and certain other communicable diseases and infectious conditions, 421 gifts to employees, 422 policies incorporated by reference, and finally 423 employee-student relationships. They're not, the policies are not included. They were included in the last packet. So if so, I just go ahead and recommend approval of these policies. Please note that that with policy 208, if approved, policy revisions will no longer require a first reading. They can be brought one time to the board for action. So I make that motion for approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Julie. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? With policy 208, if there is ever any question from the community or from board members or from others involved, that policy will always be brought for any policy will always be brought for a second reading. So it basically just helps us with things such as laws that we have to include in policy that have changed, or if there's a grammatical change or something we missed in spelling originally, we don't have to bring those to the board for 2 reviews. Any other discussion? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. That motion carries with the approval of those policies. Moving on to personnel. Del?
We do have some employment issues to discuss this evening, and it's been recommended by Matt Mahoney that Courtney Stuber be employed as the high school dance team coach. Courtney has 6 years of experience as an assistant dance teacher at the Borkhardt Dance Company and 4 years experience serving as a head cheerleaders coach and a paraprofessional at Grenada Huntley East Chain. Courtney received positive references from several of the staff members and has a good rapport with many of our students who she taught at the Borkhardt School. The high school dance team will be performing at all of the boys and girls basketball games and also at 4 tournament games. And bearing that in mind, I would make a motion to approve the employment of Courtney Stuber as the dance team coach, effective for the 16-17 school year, at a salary of $957.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Medical leave, Rufus?
Okay. Steve Lebert has requested a medical leave to begin September 6, 2016, with expectation to extend through October 14, 2016. So I'd make that motion to approve the medical leave for Steve Lebert, September 6, 2016 through October 14, 2016.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Julie. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
Bethany Hoos has requested a medical leave to begin September 26, 2016 through October 19, 2016 per medical recommendation. So I'd make a motion to approve the medical leave for Bethany Hoos, September 26, 2016 through October 19, 2016.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Del. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
And finally, Judy Birkeland has requested a medical leave to begin October 3rd to extend for approximately 3 months. So I'd make a motion to approve the medical leave for Judy Birkeland beginning October 3, 2016, extending for approximately 3 months or per medical recommendation.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Resignation, Dell?
And finally, we do have a resignation tendered by Deborah Soria. She was hired this year as an EEL paraprofessional at the high school. She has resigned her position effective September 27th of this year. So I would move that we accept the resignation of Deborah Soria, EEL paraprofessional, effective September 27th, 2016.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Julie. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Moving on to board committee reports. The first is from the town hall meeting, which was on September 28th. We'd like to thank those people from the community who came to that meeting that we had with the public. It was, we met for about an hour and 15 minutes, and there was some very good discussion. One point that was brought up was the need to collaborate between the community and the school. We have so many resources available through the city, through various businesses, and that as we work together, it helps everyone. It helps our community, it helps our students, it helps our families, it helps our school and our teachers. We also had a discussion about the fluency of reading at the elementary level, and that there's a need for parent volunteers or volunteers in general to come into the schools and just listen to students read. If students cannot read very fluently, it's hard for them to focus and concentrate and comprehend on what they've read previously. And as fluency rates in our students increase, their ability to understand, comprehend, and progress in their education increases. And how important it is to have parents and other members of the community volunteer to listen to students read. We had one parent there who said, well, I guess if I can spend 2 hours at a basketball game watching our students play sports, I should be able to spend 2 hours listening to a student read in our district. And volunteers are very important. Every member of our community is important to the education of our children. Also, there was a discussion about about math and how there may be different learning styles and different methods available for students to learn math, and are we researching and looking into those methods, and how can we best help students who might struggle in math or in other areas in our school. It was a good discussion. I'm very appreciative to those members of the community that came and that presented. We talked about scores for our testing that we do with our students, and I think as a board we realize that we need to educate the public about what those scores mean and what impact they're having on our schools. Is there anything else that board members would like to bring up that we discussed at the meeting?
A little bit of the new reading curriculum was
Oh, yes.
discovered or discussed too.
Yes, how the impact of the new reading curriculum in the elementary school, that it's difficult, but that we're seeing great results from it, especially from those teachers that have really embraced that new curriculum. And that there is a new reading English language arts curriculum at the junior high school that is a continuation of the curriculum that they have now at the elementary school. And this is the first year that has been implemented at the Fairmont Area School Junior Senior High School. And that it is a difficult curriculum, but our students, as we push through and really try to develop those skills, we will see results. And we need to see results to be competitive. Fairmont area students should be competitive no matter what they decide to go into. They should, if they want to be a welder, they should be competitive in the world of welding. If they want to be a doctor, they should be competitive to get into medical school. If they want to be a teacher, they should be competitive. If they want to be an engineer or a plumber or an automotive technician, we as a community and as a Fairmont area school district need to be able to prepare our students to be competitive in this worldwide community. We're not just competing against Fairmont, we need to be competitive throughout the world. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was a very good discussion. All right, moving on to Staff Welfare Committee meeting. Rufus?
Number of items were discussed. There was discussion regarding development of a policy for time limits for extracurricular activities. This was in response to concerns brought forward from parents indicating that, you know, there have been occasions where students have been asked, you know, to participate for multiple nights and exceeding 2 hours a night. And so we wanted to at least start the process of discussing at the board level, and also then carry that discussion to the teachers and the school administration, and try to find a good policy that makes sense. We also discussed the fact that the high school principals or the high school administration has had a work group this past year looking at grading policies. Currently, you know, grading is kind of across the board. You know, everybody has their own approach to grading. There are some ideas that are being promoted on a national level. You know, what makes sense in grading. And so that work group has looked at all the research, and we'll continue those discussions this year, hopefully with an implementation of a new policy beginning the next school year. We also discussed the challenges of providing education to our English language learners. Some of these students are new to country. You know, they speak very little English, and in some cases they have very little prior schooling experience. And so we discussed, you know, some ideas about how we could, you know, reach out to these kids and try to ensure their chance of success, you know, as long as they're in the Fairmont District schools. We also met, you know, and part of this discussion was with you know, the high school principals, and we had met with them early in the summer, and the staff welfare had some questions regarding plans for this coming year, and so we heard back from them on a number of issues, one of which was making sure that students have the appropriate resources and tools, including textbooks and information materials that are accessible to them, you know, to ensure their chances for success. And those discussions are ongoing. We had some discussion about the town meeting. It was kind of a recap, but that's already been discussed. And very importantly, we discussed an idea of bringing in some professionals to help the district develop a strategic plan. The district, you know, has realized that it's important that if we're going to move forward, that we need to really have a vision and a plan. And there is a process that's that's supported by Southern Plains Cooperative in conjunction with the Minnesota School Board Association, and they have staff that will come into Fairmont and do an in-depth analysis and eventually come up with a strategic plan, you know, for Fairmont. And Joe, you might want to add something to that.
I will. That's actually coming from the South Central Service Cooperative out of Mankato. And Dr. Jeff Olson, who's the retired superintendent at St. Peter, will be the lead person. Mr. Harold Remy, who's a retired superintendent from New Ulm. And there's an individual who will be representing Minnesota School Board Association out of St. Peter. Those three will be coming. And I'm glad you brought that up, Dr. Rodriguez, because what we're going to be looking for, we'll probably be organizing sometime after the Christmas break, so in early January. These three consultants will come to town. They'll spend a full day in our school district. They'll meet with a group of high school students. They'll meet with building staff at both buildings. They'll meet with the administrative cabinet, the full school board. They'll have a community listening session. And then there'll be the administration of an external online survey for parents. and they'll administer a internal online survey for all staff to fill out. And then what their goal is to put together a strategic planning advisory committee of 20 to 30 participants, which will be made up of students, teachers, community members, school board members, administrators. And then there will be 3 meetings following that. Each meeting will last about 2.5 hours, and they'll be held in February, March, and April. And the whole reason of that is to really develop a belief, mission, and vision statement for the district, come up with very specific plans on how we're going to implement those visions over the next year. The neat thing about this group, by the way, and the total cost is relatively reasonable, it's $2,500. And these folks come in, they spend 4 days with us, 1 day to review, and then 3 days to have these meetings. But then they come back a year later to check on us to see what have we done. Because in some districts, you do a strategic plan, you put it on the shelf, you never look at it for 5 or 10 years. This is a lot different model. And I will point out that Martin County West and Blue Earth, Martin County West went through this a year ago. Blue Earth is bringing this same group into their district this year, even though they did a strategic plan a year ago with somebody else. But they liked this model so well that so the 3 of us along Interstate 90 will be doing similar things. And it's so important to develop a plan, come up with specific objectives, and then make sure that we're doing it as a community. So I'm pretty excited about this.
I think it's going to be great.
Yep.
Because it'll tap the ideas and the concerns of the entire community, the students, parents, teachers, staff, and and hopefully it'll help us find out where we sit and where we need to go.
And I'd like to add one more thing to this discussion before we adjourn tonight. When we had our town meeting the other night, one of the individuals was talking about the vocational programs. And the individual, it happens to be one of the candidates for mayor, and this person wasn't aware that we still had vocational programs, and so she actually came and did a tour of the high school 2 days later. Actually went through the whole vocational wing and visited the welding academy, the auto shop, the ag academy, the construction trades, the family and consumer science programs, and was very impressed. And the point of that story is that sometimes I feel like Fairmont's one of the best kept secrets in the region, and I think sometimes our school district is one of the best kept secrets in town. And I think all the wonderful manufacturing and medical facilities we have in Fairmont are one of the best kept secrets to our students. And so what I would invite anybody in the public, anytime during the school year, if you want to take a tour of either the elementary school or the high school and actually see what goes on during the day, because there are so many wonderful things that happen in our buildings every single day, that, call us at the district office. 235-4000 is my direct number. If you want to actually talk to somebody, call Judy at 235-4001, 235-4001. Otherwise, 235-4000, and we'll set up a time. We'll spend as much time as you want to visit any classroom that you want, because I think you'll be amazed at what goes on every day behind those doors. We just have an incredible school district. We have so many good teachers and so many good support staff, and we have so many great kids, and we have so many good families. I mean, this is a very special place. But we're still one of the best kept secrets. So make a phone call, come up and see us, take a tour. Won't cost you anything. You might even get a free lunch out of it. I'll pay. Okay.
All right, thank you. Is there any other business that would like for discussion? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries to adjourn this meeting at 5:46 PM. Thank you.